SCP Illustrated is by far one of my favorite creators to react to. His story and narrations are really good, and he does a lot of custom tale readings. And today, this one's by Dr. Sumerian. I think it's going to be really good. It's SCP-012, which is some sort of song, and it has to do with SCP-096, the Shy Guy, finishing it. So I don't know what it's going to entail, but the thumbnail looked amazing. We're going to react to it today, guys. Make sure to subscribe to SCP Illustrated. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos, and let's get into this one.
SCP-012's file updated 2021.
Okay.
SCP-012 is a handwritten musical score titled On Mount Golgotha. The ink on the pages originate from the blood of anyone affected by the item's primary anomaly. If allowed access to SCP-012, individuals will mutilate themselves in order to produce blood that they will then use to compose further music. This will continue until they are no longer physically able to provide blood. The music generated has, to this point, been a disagreeable cacophony.
Oh, I bet.
Dr. Stanford looked up from his computer screen as Mr. Mallon walked into the office. The smell of soft cinnamon filled the air, along with the sounds of gentle classical music. Mr. Mallon threw a file folder onto the table, narrowly missing some burning incense. Are you out of your goddamned mind? Dr. Stanford leaned back in his chair. Calm down, Director. Also, that's not really how you start a conversation. I will not calm down. You cross-tested 096 with 012. What the fuck? Dr. Stanford opened the top drawer of his desk and pulled out a half-full glass of brown liquid. If we're having this conversation, I will be needing this. You want anything? No. Okay. So you don't approve. SCP-096 rates highly on the Volatility and Survivability Index, with a heavy emphasis on its cognitohazardous properties, and 012 is also a high-level cognitohazard. I'm literally in charge of the 012 project. You want to get snarky with me because I'm telling you stuff you already know. You violated the cognitohazardous cross-testing policy. I was on holiday. I took the call holding a drink with a tiny umbrella in it. You made me give up tiny umbrellas. Then you made me come all the way back to Wisconsin to tell you shit you already know. You could have waited. Shut up. There's going to be a disciplinary hearing. We need to talk about what you're going to say to save your job.
Oh,
hold on.
gosh,
Dr. Stanford glanced back to his computer, and the music started playing louder. Astonishing, isn't it? Is this... I thought that SCP-012 only generated nonsensical music.
Apparently, 096.
So but 096's creations seem to be functional.
Wow.
The two sat in silence for a moment and listened to the delicate strings playing. Mr. Mallon's face softened slightly.
Bit dull though, isn't it?
Dr. Stanford's briefing on SCP-096, July 5th, 2022. Staff have taken to calling SCP-096 the Shy Guy, and I think it's pretty reasonable of them, honestly. Everything we can determine from how it operates seems to indicate that its primary purpose is to keep
its face hidden, right?
It doesn't mind being seen, but other entities seeing its face is beyond its capacity to tolerate. The entity's monstrous nature aside, the fact that it messily murders anyone who sees its face does preclude any serious emotional attachment by members of staff.
Sure.
That said, we should remain vigilant. I've seen 10-foot-tall blob monsters become humanized and empathized with by staff before. We should take care not to empathize with the entity simply because it seems embarrassed when people see its face.
Right.
Remember that it kills those people.
Yeah, but is it embarrassed though? It's a rage.
SCP-096 sat in the corner of its room and cried. Something strange had happened to him, and it was taking a lot of time to come to terms with it. The science people had led him slowly into a room with a piece of parchment in it. At first, nothing felt too off, but after a time he felt a longing to look at the parchment. Something about it was so beautiful, and he knew he could add something to it. So he did the only thing he could. He stripped the skin from a finger and started to draw musical notes with the bloody stump.
Oh my gosh.
Notes. Minutes ago, he had no idea what that even meant. But now the music was flowing out of him, directly from his veins and onto the paper. He smiled to himself, closed his eyes sometimes, and he could feel the music. But so after a time, the science people had returned, and they removed him from the room, but he wasn't finished. Maybe he never would be, but at least he had something he could be proud of. Something beautiful existed in the world that he'd created.
I mean,
Bit dull though, isn't it? Bit dull though, isn't it? He wasn't sure where it had been said or why. Then his mind focused. He saw the face of Site Director Malin in his head. He knew the direction this man was.
Oh.
It wouldn't be long until this man was laughing at him. It wouldn't be long until they all laughed at him. He'd been wrong.
It's not good.
What he'd created wasn't beautiful. It was disgusting.
It was disgusting.
Just like his face. Just like him. He needed to stop people from listening to it. He crouched to the floor and started to scream.
Oh no! What?
Incident report 096-128.
On November the 6th, 2022, SCP-096 spontaneously displayed behaviors normally associated with viewing its face.
Crap.
It is not believed, however, that this was the specific trigger for this attack. SCP-096 began to scream, and after approximately 34 seconds began to run through the site. It broke 23 reinforced security walls and doors on the way to Dr. Stanford's office. It then killed Site Director Malin and Dr. Stanford.
Yep.
During the attack, it also destroyed the Site-19 power substation, leading to the loss of power for the entire site.
So nobody would hear the song.
Afterwards, it tracked down and killed 17 other individuals associated with the 096-012 cross test, and 3 individuals not associated with the test. SCP-096 then returned to its docile state. Once power was restored to the site, Dr. Stanford's computer was reactivated, and his files associated with the cross test were examined. An audio file created using a computerized interpretation of the SCP-012 sections that were written by 096 was at some point played. SCP-096 resumed its previous behaviors, and it killed the recovery and repair team that was present, and again, caused a loss of power.
Gotta destroy it.
Current containment efforts are to go towards tracking down any further copies of this audio file. This is an active investigation, but a better understanding of why this behavior took so long to manifest may not be possible. In light of the new threat posed by SCP-012, SCP-012 has been reclassed as Keter.
Yeah. As if it already... 096 wasn't already bad enough to contain, right?
096 cried. For once, 096 had felt truly seen. Just this once, he thought he'd done something that would be free of mockery. But no. They always found something wrong with him.
That's so sad.
They always laughed at him, always pointed and sneered. Why wouldn't they just leave him alone? Why couldn't he just be himself? It was never going to end. He knew that now. Though no one else noticed, today, he cried a little bit harder.
God, man. That hurts my little heart. So SCP-096 hates when people look at his face because he feels like they're judging him. So SCP-012, being music, which he wrote with his blood as a form of expression, is being judged and condemned by people, which also make him enraged because, again, he feels like he's being judged and ridiculed. That's so awesome, man. And it's terrible at the same time. It's sad, really, but it was a great story by SCP Illustrated, guys. Make sure to subscribe to him. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos, too. If you want to watch another story about 096, but not quite as sad, check this one out. I really loved it.